Hey, Chris Hollins here, and I'm a huge fan of Progress Texas because you're a voice for the progressive movement across our great state.
It's Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, and this is the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch, rapid response on the breaking news stories Texas progressives need to know. I'm Chris Mosier. Reactions from Texas lawmakers to yesterday's surreal moment at the White House as Donald Trump, his cabinet members, and the visiting El Salvadoran President Nayib Bukele, who brands himself as the world's coolest dictator, proclaimed that they will not bring the wrongly deported Kilmar Armando Abrego Garcia back to the U.S. from Bukele's mega prison, despite instructions to do so from the courts, while casually discussing the idea of sending U.S. citizens to that same black site from which there apparently is no return. Congresswoman Sylvia Garcia of Houston says, quote, Trump is openly defying the Supreme Court and threatening to go after U.S. citizens next. This is the playbook of a dictator. Every American must rise up, speak out, and fight back, unquote. Congressman Greg Casar of Austin says, quote, first they said they'll send undocumented immigrants with no due process to a foreign prison camp. Next they said any immigrant, documented or not. Now they say it's citizens. And once they send you, even on accident, they can't bring you back, unquote. And Congresswoman Veronica Escobar of El Paso says, quote, the two men responsible for sending and detaining an innocent man to a gulag both claim to be powerless. They are both wannabe dictators in every way possible. How long before they do this to a U.S. citizen? This is an outrage, unquote. This prison was brought online just a couple of years ago and has drawn widespread human rights concerns as its inmates are generally held indefinitely with no outside contact and largely absent any legal recourse. Essentially, once you're in, you don't get out. It's more or less a death camp. And it's worth noting that similar facilities operated by the Nazi regime in World War II were also mostly not actually located in Germany, but east of their border with Poland, including the notorious Auschwitz-Birkenau and Treblinka camps. They did this to keep what they were doing away from the observation of the German people. We are living in highly alarming times. Big day tomorrow at the Texas State Capitol as public education advocates rally their supporters to show up for what's expected to be the big showdown over private school vouchers. Sarah Ash at the Texas Standard writes that the Texas House is expected to vote on the Senate's take on the issue, and a long floor debate is expected. Fellow Texas newsroom journalist Blaise Gainey says, quote, this has been an issue that's been talked about for years, and Democrats have been against it from the time the bill was thought about, before anything was written on paper, and so I would expect them to try and amend the bill in a way to limit the exposure of any voucher-like program that comes out, or maybe amend the bill to try to just make it so bad that it's not actually useful. Obviously, they'll vote against the bill and try to stop it that way, unquote, adding that the real test lies on the Republican side. Will representatives of small town and rural districts actually vote to undermine the public schools back home that are very much at the heart of their constituent communities, both culturally and economically? We are fixing to find out. The Texas Freedom Network is calling for public attendance at the Capitol tomorrow, 9 a.m. at the steps outside the House floor. On the second floor, they ask that you wear red for Ed. Austin Representative and House Public Education Committee member Gina Hinojosa reminds us that, quote, taxpayer-funded vouchers put Texas taxpayers on the hook for funding the tuition of every student already in private school. It's welfare for the well-off while our neighborhood schools are shutting down, unquote. While we're distracted with dictatorial scenes in D.C. in this looming voucher battle, Texas Republicans have quietly been working on legislation that would loosen restrictions on guns in a state that is already awash in guns. Nina Banks and the aforementioned Blaise Gainey at the Texas Newsroom say more than a dozen proposals are in play to that end. They want to reduce restrictions on short-barrel firearms, to which Flo Rice, a teacher who was shot 6 times during the Santa Fe high school mass murder in 2018, says, quote, potentially a student could have a sawed-off shotgun small enough to fit in his backpack, unquote. They also want to allow the concealed carrying of guns into voting locations and to lower the age limit for permitless handgun possession from 21 to 18. As Texas law reads now, people between 18 and 21 must have a license to carry, which largely amounts to a little paperwork, but House Bill 2470 would do away with even that small degree of caution. KSAT TV in San Antonio says a group of mothers who lost their kids in the Uvalde shooting have noticed that bill and testified against it yesterday before the Homeland Security, Public Safety, and Veterans Affairs Committee at the Capitol, including Kimberly Rubio, who noted, quote, "As we work tirelessly to raise the age to purchase semi-automatic rifles from 18 to 21, House Bill 2470 seeks to lower the age from 21 to 18 to purchase handguns. More children with more guns is not the answer," unquote. And Gloria Casares, quote, "You are putting more children at risk and you'll make even more mothers fear for their children's lives," unquote. San Antonio and Austin friends, Progress Texas is proud to welcome San Antonio Mayor Ron Nirenberg as our guest for a live podcast taping at our Party for Progress on Tuesday, May the 6th, and you are invited. We look forward to a long overdue visit to Alamo City. Again, mark that date, Tuesday, May 6th, live pod taping with Mayor Ron Nirenberg and good fun with you in San Antonio. See the show notes and get your tickets right now. Thanks to Austin Kaplan and the Kaplan Law Firm, Julianne Reeves, Tracy Miller, Will Judy, and more for their generous support of our San Antonio Party for Progress. Our mission at Progress Texas is to counter the conservative disinformation machine, but they far outmatch us in funding. Oil and tech billionaires and religious right-wing activist groups spend a lot of money keeping their audiences in the dark. And if you've come to appreciate the light we shine on important political news in Texas on a daily, ongoing basis, please know that our regular, everyday listeners form a key component of our funding. If that's you, we could use your support as a monthly contributor, and no amount is too small. Go to progresstexas.org/donate. Thanks to Lanny DeGuire, Edith Frost, and Alicia Deal, all of whom have joined the team lately. We appreciate all of you very much. While you're at the website, be sure and grab the merch to match your progressive values at our web store. Y'all means all, Revolution, and our most popular Humans Against Ted Cruz t-shirts are all union printed right here in Texas and all available now at progresstexas.org. That's the Progress Texas Daily Dispatch for this Tuesday, April 15th, 2025. Links to all these original stories can be found in our show notes. Progress Texas is a nonprofit, rapid response media organization promoting progressive messages and actions. While campaigns come and go, we're the permanent home for progressive media and action in the Lone Star State. I'm Chris Mosier. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow morning.